Hi, this is Harry Campbell from Biofeedback Resources International, and I'm going to do a quick video here for you talking about electrical energy from the brain. And it's related to EEG or neurofeedback, which is one of the things that we do here at Biofeedback Resources International. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Just from the image there, you can see just the projection or the idea that there's energy that comes from the brain. And we look at this energy using instruments. There are different types of instruments that can be used to measure activity coming from the brain. The one that we're going to focus on mainly is the EEG or neurofeedback. So here you have an image of the brain. You have different parts of the brain from the front, which is one of the parts that is seems to be more focused on things like executive function, decision making, and so on. You have other areas that are more associated with movement and motor function, eye movement, sensory, so sensing. Then you have vision, etc. So if we think about energy, there's different types of energy. You have light energy, sound, electric, magnetic, and all of these have frequencies. The image there is showing a prism, and many of you may remember from school and science class where the teacher would have this glass prism and shine a light through one end, which would be white light or appear to be white light, and then coming out the other end, you see the colors of the rainbow. And those colors represent frequencies of light energy. Okay. If you think of sound, and this I might be dating myself, but some of the older stereo equipment that you would have especially in a house would have one piece would be called an equalizer, and it had these knobs on it with these lights, and you could move the knobs up and down, and it would change the quality of the sound. So you might move one and you get more bass or less bass. You move another one up or down and you get more of the high sounds, the treble sounds, and so on. And so those are different frequencies of sound. You have slower or lower frequencies, and you have higher frequencies. That would be those higher pitched sounds. Um, with electricity, you also have frequencies. And when we look at the EEG, we are considering electrical frequencies. And the frequencies have to do with how many cycles per second, how many times a wave moves up and down in 1 second. So we'll get into talking about that a little bit, but not too much in this segment. We do other trainings that go into more detail on this. Our brain also produces energy made of frequencies that are measurable by neurofeedback instruments. And how does the brain work? Well, you have your neurons, and energy passes between the neurons as the brain sends information and instructions for different things that happen in the body. So here you have a diagram of where we would have our measurement. So we have our sensor or EEG electrode on the scalp surface, but we're not trying to measure the scalp. We're trying to measure activity going on in the brain, which is not at the surface. There's the skin, there's the skull, there's other what's called matter, etc. there. And then finally, you have where the brain is and where the cells are that are producing the energy that we're measuring from. So electrical activity measured by scalp EEG electrodes is generated by similarly oriented groups of cerebral cortical neurons near the scalp where the recording electrodes are placed. Each scalp electrode collects at a minimum an estimated 6 centimeters synchronous cortical activity. The majority of the electrical activity collected in the EEG is generated by groups of pyramidal neurons. These cells have cell bodies primarily in the layers 3 and 5 of the cerebral cortex. Well, that's showing in the diagram there. So when we talk about frequencies, they're grouped. And so you have slower waves called delta. Then the next faster ones would be considered called theta. Then you have alpha, then beta, and then gamma would be the fastest out of this group. And then it shows the states of consciousness that these brain waves are associated with. So for instance, delta is associated with sleep, dreamless sleep, access to subconscious, loss of bodily awareness. And when there are problems, it can also be associated with some sort of brain injury. Inner peace is associated with theta, REM sleep, deep meditation. And then alpha, you have creativity, flow state, and a form of focus. Then beta is concentration, so a higher form of focus, arousal, and alertness. And then gamma is multi-processing. So with neurofeedback, what we do is after we measure the EEG information about the brain, we feed it back to the person in a way that they can learn to change the activity that's being measured. So they could end up generating less theta or less beta or more alpha, etc., based on the feedback. So when we're doing an assessment or certain types of neurofeedback, we might use a cap that has 19 or more sites like this. Other times we might just use a single sensor or electrode that goes on the scalp and then 2 ear clip electrodes. And this is just prepping and putting the sensors on with a paste that's used. This is what a EEG recording screen might look like. This is on the Biograph software from Thought Technology. This is a raw signal. This is a 3-dimensional spectral graph. I'm sorry, 2-dimensional spectral graph. And then this is the 3-dimensional spectral graph. And these are just showing averages of certain frequencies over time. This is more like a display that might be used for training. So here you have, this is a 2-monitor display. Here you have your more technical information that the technician or therapist might be looking at and adjusting. And then here you have the feedback game that the client or person being trained would be looking at so that they can see if they are doing well or not based on the feedback. And then this is what one of the 19-channel systems looks like. This is actually a 24-channel. This is called the BrainMaster Discovery. BrainMaster is another company that specializes in neurofeedback equipment. This is their 24-channel system. This is a 19-channel cap that I am inserting or applying the gel through the holes in the cap so that I can record the EEG. And then this is a type of assessment report that you can get after you do that recording and process it through special software. Sometimes that software is online, sometimes it might be on your computer. And this gives you graphs that are showing you areas that are considered showing normal activity, where you have the green in this case, and then activity that's outside of normal range would be either in red here or blue, blue being lower than average and red being higher than average, and shows you which frequencies are dysregulated, and from that information, you would decide what type of training you're going to do. And then sometimes we use games to help reward the progress, the reinforcement of the feedback. In this case, a game will condition or train the brain to switch to and stay to in a more appropriate state more of the time. So it gets it out of that stuck state and helps it to be able to learn to be more regulated as it should be. Okay, so that's just a quick tour of some basic information about neurofeedback and EEG biofeedback and how we might use it. Um, I have other videos that will get into more depth and certain applications like anxiety or depression or brain injury, ADHD. So those are some of the applications it's used for. But I thank you for listening to and watching this video. If you have any questions, you want more information, you can contact me at the one of the phone numbers listed there, or you can go to the website biofeedbackinternational.com. And again, here are the phone numbers. My email address is listed there, harry@biofeedbackinternational.com. And we do have seminars. Our seminar schedule for biofeedback and neurofeedback are listed there. We do both in-person and online training. And we are accredited by the BCIA for training for certification. All right, so let me know if you have any questions and look forward to speaking with you.